celebrating 12 years of possibility. Pilot Flying J and Halloran Hilton Hill present Anything is Possible. Today's guest, Ashley Capps, Part 2.
Welcome to another edition of Anything is Possible, and this is Part 2 of my interview with Ashley Capps, and I'm starting to realize this needs to be an hour-long show. This needs to be a network show. I am throwing my belief and possibility out there, so we got to make that happen. Thank you for hanging around for Part 2.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
We were just getting into Bonnaroo, and you sell 70,000 tickets in 17 days. You were thinking maybe we can get a 5,000 ticket jump start by using the networks of these jam bands who were smart enough to develop direct-to-customer relationships through email. I mean, they cultivated a fan base, and you leveraged from that. But we haven't even talked about what happened since that first year, because right out of the gate, you had success.
And I like to remind people, too, that first year we sold those 70,000 tickets without spending one penny on advertising.
Wow.
It was strictly word of mouth through the internet and email. And again, before social media, there was no Facebook, no Twitter. This was 2002. So it was a real eye-opening experience to, what I think is, obviously at this point a major cultural shift in how people communicate with one another and how they get their information.
The name of the television show that you're watching is Anything is Possible. The word possible means able to be. And it's interesting, when you were talking about developing Bonnaroo, you found inspiration in festivals in Europe and in the movements that were around bands like Fish. They had created a festival type experience. And then you said, why not? I've heard this from a lot of possibility people. Last time I heard it, I was watching the X Games movie. Travis Pastrana is answering a question, and he said, well, how could you do a double backflip on a motorcycle? And Pastrana said, we say, what if the other way? You say, what if I fall? I say, what if I stick the landing? If I can make this work, I'm going to make history. And when you were building up to Bonnaroo, you said in our last episode, you said, we got together and said, why not? Where does that come from, Ashley? Where'd you get that? Because I don't think I've talked to you about your mom, your dad, your beginnings, your origin, or where you get that. It is the common thread from all possibility people, that faith, that thing that goes, why not? Where do you get that?
Well, my parents were both just immensely supportive of me as I was growing up. I mean, they really instilled in me the belief that if I wanted to do something, that there was no reason that I should feel like I couldn't do it.
Where are you from?
I'm from here in Knoxville.
Really? Are your parents still alive?
My mother is. My mother's, she'll be 89 years old in May of this year.
Is she proud of you?
She's very proud of me, yes.
Has she been to Bonnaroo?
She has never been to Bonnaroo. But she reads about it all the time. She's a big, big fan.
So tell me then, do you have brothers and sisters?
I do. I have a brother, and he lives here with his wife and 2 kids, too.
So growing up here in Knoxville, and you have these parents that are super supportive, my understanding is this is not what you went to school to do. You were doing something else, and you started to do this on the side.
Well, they were very supportive, but they did want me to be either a doctor or a lawyer, or at least my mom did. My father was a businessman, and he loved that. He was a salesman, and he loved that as well. But as much as they may have wanted particular things for me, they always encouraged me to follow my muse, and we're very supportive of that to an extraordinary degree. When I look back on it, if I were them, I might have been saying, "Oh, you really,
Right.
maybe you should not do this right now."
Right.
But and when I failed, which I did on more than one occasion, it was not like, "Okay, now you got that out of your system. Let's get real here." I never heard that
Wow.
at all. I was always encouraged just to, pick myself up on the ground and keep going.
Let's take a break. When we come back, I got a great question for you. This is Ashley Capps. You're watching Anything is Possible, part 2 of our interview.
Possibility powered by Pilot Flying J, Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel. Coming up.
We're all working together for a common goal, and having that trust and knowing that there's that shared commitment is, really what, success in the business is ultimately based on.
Welcome back to Anything is Possible. I'm Haller in Hilton Hill. We're trying to make the show more mobile, so we'll put it on the screen where you can go to our YouTube channel and you can actually watch this on your phone. And you can tweet this or you can Facebook it. This is the right thing to do, right?
Absolutely.
And you can watch this on your phone, so I hope you will do that. This is Ashley Capps. This is part 2 of our interview. So here's the question I want to ask you. And it's a weird question, but just bear with me. What's your favorite failure? And the addendum to that question is, what failure taught you the most valuable thing that ultimately made you successful? Which failure gave you the best return on investment?
I think I would have to say the club venture. When I opened the nightclub in the Old City in 1988 called Ella Garou's, that taught me a lot. First of all, I think it taught me the value of work, I guess, in a really tangible way, or at least it taught me what it meant to be completely and totally immersed, giving every fiber of your being to trying to make something succeed. 7 days a week, as many hours as I could possibly do it without sleeping a day, and still fail. But in the course of all of that, I met a lot of people. I developed a lot of relationships. I met Widespread Panic, the band. They were the first band that said yes to Bonnaroo. And that was a relationship that was a very important relationship throughout the 1990s. So, so many people that I still do business with today, those relationships were formed in the 2.5 years that I did that club with agents, managers, artists. So it was a very formative experience in that way. But it also taught me the value of paying attention to the details, not kidding yourself, not pulling the wool over your eyes, that the details matter. The club that was supposed to hold 250 people, which seems impossibly ridiculously small now, but the fact that it could only legally hold 192, that was a huge problem. And, having not really dotted that I and crossed the T going into it, as we designed and planned the club, was one of many factors that caused the club to not succeed. So, all of those things, the complete immersion, the development of relationships, and the paying attention to details, and how important it was during that time and during all of those difficult times of maintaining your integrity so that you maintain the integrity of those relationships. So, those were people that you could actually continue to build a career with and build relationships with, that could continue to last, a quarter of a century now. That
That's
was my
big.
favorite. That was my favorite failure.
You know what's interesting about that too, that I just thought about, is you put in your reps there, and you learned how to be excellent without a reward. I like to say it this way now, that excellence becomes your operating system, not an app. It's just how you do what you do. What are the rules you've learned in this business about relationships? Because you probably have distilled it down to a few always and nevers. So I always do this and never do this.
Well, I think we always try to deliver the very best experience that we possibly can for the artist and for the fans, and to not cut corners, because it's really about the long-term picture. And it can be easy on the short term to start sacrificing the quality of the experience. And at that particular point, you start to sacrifice the quality of those relationships and the trust that people have come to expect from you. And so that's that's probably the single most important thing. I mean, the music business, as I said earlier, it's a very relationship-based business.
How important?
Because we're all working together for a common goal. And having that trust and knowing that there's that shared commitment is, really what, success in the business is ultimately based on.
You hear all these horror stories about how nasty, dirty, shady, shaky, seedy the music industry is. But what I hear you saying is, at the higher levels in this space or this game, it really is driven by trust. That your word is it at the end of the day, even with all the technology. The reason that you can have a Kanye and an Elton John, and who else is coming to Bonnaroo this year?
Oh, Jack White, Lionel Richie.
The reason that you can have that is because your brand and your name comes with a certain amount of trust and confidence. If Ashley's doing it, if AC Entertainment, if they call you and say it's going to be this, that's what it's going to be.
That's a creed that we strive to live by. I can't tell a lie. There are difficult people in our business, and we don't get along with everyone. And there are a few people out there that I'm very proud of not getting along with. But generally speaking, I think the music business gets a bad rap, and I'm proud to say that most of the people that I've met in the business are very passionate, creative, smart, hardworking people who love what they do and want to be successful and just thrive in the environment of working together to create these events for people to have experiences and memories that last a lifetime.
Did you expect to be this successful?
No.
And Bonnaroo, has it made you a very rich man?
I'm doing fine, but I wouldn't define it as very rich at all. No. I'm okay.
I love your smile says okay.
Bill Gates
really
is very rich.
I'm
not even close.
I do want to ask you this though. Can you give me some Bonnaroo stats? Hit me with a couple of logistical stats from Bonnaroo.
Oh wow! I wish I'd prepared a little bit more before this.
Over 3.5 days, you're going to see how many people this year?
Well, everybody's there for the entire time.
Right.
So, we have 80,000 people a year. We've stuck with that number.
Isn't that amazing that you had to cap it? Like it could be 100,000.
Well, one year we went to 90. And I'm not including the staff and the artists and the guests or whatever. One year we went to 90 and we decided it was 10,000 people too many. It was, it seems maybe odd to say that, but that extra 10,000 people, it felt like we weren't delivering the experience that we wanted to deliver to the fans, so we dialed it back to 80,000.
How quickly did it sell out this year?
It's not sold out yet.
Oh, good.
It usually doesn't sell out until, you know, a few weeks before the festival these days.
But you don't worry.
In the early days, we had those quick sellouts, but you know, we're happy to sell out at all. So.
Let's take another quick break and we'll be back. This is Ashley Capps and you're watching Anything is Possible.
Coming up,
Even back in the early, you know, the very beginnings of promoting concerts, you know, the why not, you know, why not the Bijou Theater?
This week, our Home Federal Community Spotlight is on Hope Resource Center. Did you know that Hope Resource Center provides medical services and educational resources to women and men in need of a safe place? To learn more or get involved, visit investinghope.com. Welcome back to Anything is Possible. This is part 2 of my interview with Ashley Capps, and thank you for taking the time to be with us. I think in this new interview, the thing that got me this time was why not? Why not? And the fact that you have been able to maintain that, and when you said that your parents were kind of like, why not? Right?
They were.
And now I can kind of see how the spirit of why not informs the way you do what you do as a promoter, because these artists come to you and you want to create the best experience. So I'm sure you have multiple times a day where you go, okay, let's try something new. I mean, the fact that you are open to change and trying things, you've been richly rewarded for having that kind of optimistic, rational faith, because you now know how to do the detail part of it, but you can say why not and then figure out how. Your thoughts?
I suppose that's true, and I'm not sure where that impulse comes from, but you know, I really savor out of the box experiences, and you know, what the music business, I believe, has offered me has been a pretty extraordinary creative palette with which to explore ideas and play and work with other people. So, you know, even back in the early, you know, the very beginnings of promoting concerts, you know, the why not, you know, why not the Bijou Theater?
Right.
You know, we started out at the Laurel Theater, but why not the Bijou Theater? Well, the Bijou's awesome. Why not the Tennessee? You know, and this is back, you know, 1980 was my first concert at the Bijou. 1981 was the first concert at the Tennessee Theater. And, you know, I always, to me, the experience of seeing great music in those historic buildings, even when they were in need of, you know, a lot of loving care and attention and a makeover, was still something that, you know, I was, why not? This is fabulous.
And that
you know,
that sense of possibility, I mean, that's why I'm so passionate about this work. That sense of possibility changes everything. I remember the Tennessee Theater crumbling. I remember the Bijou crumbling. I remember the grumbling about the crumbling when they did the $23 million renovation of the Tennessee Theater. And now people are so proud of those venues. And the transformation was led by people like yourself who didn't say why, who said why not. And Ashley, that's what I passionately believe drives all of humanity forward, is somebody believing that something is possible. That's a really big deal.
it is, but it's wonderful to be inspired by other people who have said that, and then to see your own work inspiring others, because I think now we look, you know, at the Renaissance in downtown Knoxville,
Right.
and there are lots of people saying why not, you know, and it's been a beautiful thing to watch unfold.
And you've been a catalyst, and I want to thank you publicly. One of the reasons I wanted you to come back is because there is somebody who just failed in a business, right? And they're watching this interview today. And you talked about Ella Guru's and the bottom falling out of that. And you've had a couple of failures, but you kept faith with relationships. You kept faith with product quality. You put relationships at the forefront, and you put the quality of the experience for the artist and for the audience at the forefront, and you kept believing. And so that person that's watching today is going to gain faith. They're going to believe something is possible, and they're going to leverage this story for the strength they need to get their possibility off the ground. And then their story is going to do that for somebody else. That's why I do this, that right there. And I saw it in you. I'm saying we sat here, well, we were at the table before, but you were brimming with possibility and you kept chasing that possibility. And now we sit here and I ask you, are you rich? And you just give me that smile. That one. And by rich, I don't mean rich. I mean, rich, you are still passionate and enthusiastic about the work that you love. That's the real riches.
Well, I feel very blessed, and I'm very rich in that sense, because I still wake up every morning, you know, ready to go. I love going to work. You know, I love thinking about what's going to unfold in the day, and you know what kind of possibilities may emerge. And you know, there is no better way to live your life, in my opinion. And I feel very lucky and very blessed to be able to do that.
Wow, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Ashley Capps, proof positive that anything is possible. We'll see you next week.